go into empty slot. Bardra, the rebel against power and rage against authority, and seemingly insignificant man with significant enemies join again tour. The aristocratic group led embodied wealth, sovereignty, seek thrills of art, romance, and career. Men's signature tormented since I am an artist, I feel like a comic artist running things seems like the best option. Is it better now? Yes, time. I'm assuming I am. I can't bring it up anymore. I gotta lower the audio though. Is it better now, or do I need to do something else? Mic should hit -20. How about now? Oops, I'm peeking. How about now? I know when it speaks. I just moved the mic. Is this good now? Okay. New York taught me to believe in fate. Had you asked me about fate back when I was human, I would have told you it just superstitious BS. That we were all designed of our own destinies. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now. By the way, fate, you decide. Please, there's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little longer. See, my mistake was that I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was never see the glow again. Thank you, by the way, Yeti, for helping me. I was incandescent myself. I was hot. I had it all: money, looks, confidence, connection, men, women, a career, and a spark in my eye. The one you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance and thought That won't do. She robbed me of light erupting from within and gave me subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided that would fit me much better. She was ninth generation kindred, just like you, an apex predator. She probably enjoyed teaching me the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. Hopefully you can't hear my dog. I feel like you can though. It is such an eyesore when you look at some loudmouth buggarts and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson. But teach them a lesson can be unbearable, right? Well, my sire's lesson was a lesson about fate, a message saying you're eternally doomed to be at the mercy of sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists, and one can shape it given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me? Just her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing, right where she stood when we first met. You might have wondered how I learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be a day some of my associates were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. But it's so rare for you to visit New York 3 times in the last 15 years, wasn't it? Was it? And you never eager to inform me you're here. I understand you still have that meeting on 53rd Street later tonight, so I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value our relationship very much. Don't get me wrong. But it is precisely because I value it that I am going to ask you to repay the favor you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job well, and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room with rats. Sorry. No, I don't really want to offer. This is my first stream, so I don't really care much. I'm here just to have fun. Actually, I know it's a bot. How do I, did I do that on... Yeah. Yeah. Now, get away. Can I do this instead? No. I was just gonna try to put you as a mod. I'm not sure how to do that. That's fine, I guess. First stream. You might think I'm crazy, asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it unpunished. But this is New York, and I don't know about other cities, but this one, fate really exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. This is how it begins. You stifle with a yawn. It's been a slow evening. A little bit of red liquid left in your glass, and the crumbs of the plate remind you that, if nothing else, these art exhibits at least come with some decent wine and legit catering. And yeah, it's fun to talk about your work on display, even if you end up discussing it with pretty much the same people at each such occasion. Hello, Mazo Camo? You already met one of the critics who keep telling you, with self-assured authority, how you should pursue a different artistic avenue. And then there are obligatory, doe-eyed art students who oh so impressed with your technique. To be fair, you're not all that happy with your latest piece. But hey, it's not the worst thing you've seen tonight. That ingomitable, deliberate honor belongs to one of the other paintings on display. And yet, its author, currently being paraded around by his rich parents, have barely been able to grab a bite of the fancy canapes. So many sycophants to meet. So little time. I'm not little. For a moment, you think that maybe it's not worth it. Maybe you should take the critic's advice. Cut your losses. Sell out to some corporation and get it over with. And as if the universe wants to validate that train of thought, that's the exact moment your sister Emma decides to pop in your view. So, let me get this straight. Crushy corporate jobs are selling out, but supporting a billionaire's vanity project is totally fine with you. Hi, Em. You absolutely despise her as an artist, while you're struggling to uphold some nebulous ideals of what art is meant to be. She's perfecting her ways of mooching off the system. That's a cute emote. Shamelessly preying on little-known street art and niche internet memes, she's repackaged them as Borgie-friendly collages. So it's perhaps no wonder that NYT, New York Times, has recently dubbed her a mind-blowing explorer of digital art extreme possibilities. But in spite of all that, you absolutely love her as a person, even as you welcome her by smacking the back of her head, a gesture meant to convey nothing but deep affection. But seriously, supporting your young artists, I don't know what kind of money you got for this piece, but I doubt it was even a fraction of what's going to be worth in tax benefits. The gallery owner actually said that if he had to choose his most valuable audience, it would be the IRS. And I'm pretty sure he was only half kidding. You mumble a non-answer and then segue into a different subject, trying to preemptively quell her repeated offers to get you a steady job. Of course, she proves as inci- insistent as ever. I can't say it tonight. You know, sometimes I don't get you. On one hand, you wouldn't be caught dead taking money from inevitable winners of the culture wars. On the other, if someone gave you a chance to collaborate on some dumb Oscar bait flick sponsored by Larry Edison's bailout fund, you do that stuff for free. She rolls her eyes and asks, you know what the only difference between the art scene and the culture industry? The culture industry actually pays your bills. As expected of someone who given up on attempts to infuse her work with any sort of enduring quality and decided to just keep responding to the zeitgeist. She claims to happily accept the fact that after she dies, both she and her work will end up in a landfill. When you respond that you prefer chasing a 1 in a million chance to immortalize yourself, she claims it reeks of an overinflated ego. Hello, Ducky. But you but you've been down this road too many times before and managed to accept she'll never understand what truly important to you. Slowly but surely, you move on to more agreeable topics. Your plans to finally get hammered together, or the most recent crop of garbage Netflix shows your friend have tricked you into trying out. Alright, I gotta go. I got a date. She peeks at a bunch of middle-aged men in expensive suits who have stopped pretending to care about the exhibit and are exchanging the worst lecherous jokes they got in their stale repertoire. Have fun with your friends, class traitor. She gives you a hug and heads for a nearby elevator. There goes the pleasant part of the evening. Still, you decide to delay the inevitable and catch a quick smoke break. I smoke. Truth be told, people aren't exactly lining up to chat about your work anyway. As you leave your post, you start tapping your pockets in search of a lighter. Instead, you find $100 bill. You're absolutely sure it wasn't there before. Jesus Christ, Em, you're the worst. And the best. You could feel your cheeks turn red, but you gratefully put the money in your wallet and move outside. When you reach the balcony, you look at New York City and light the second last cigarette left in the pack. You're alone. It's not silence. The metropolitan hum is ever present, even this high up. But it's a good deal more intimate than that behind your back. You lean over the railing and look down. The streetlights beckon more than usual. In your mind's eye, you see yourself as your final artwork, beautifully splattered all over the pavement. Working title, Delusion of Grandeur. The author, a brilliant artistic soul, crushed by unfeeling reality, gone too soon. You chuckle and flick the cigarette into the air. Yeti's talking about Ducky. Freshen up by the night's cool breeze. Freshened up by the night's cool breeze, you squeeze back into the stuffy interior. You barely make a few steps before lethargically setting back in. No violence in my stream. It's like you never left. I'm just gonna ignore that part. It's like you never left. Still, something in the room feels different. Your eyes are drawn to a handsome young man, neatly dressed and groomed, exuding the air of true artiste. And the best part? He intently looking at your paintings. The gallery is like an art installation itself. Now people are standing in a silent awe, the guy like a beacon, drawing everyone's attention. Hushed conversations about the guests can be heard from every corner of the gallery. Yeah, something's going on with the chat. Why is that like that? It's cut off a little bit. Hushed conversations about the guests can be heard from every corner of the gallery. Your heart is pounding with excitement, and you approach, feeling like a kid trying to get close to a deer in the woods, but afraid you might scare it away. The man turns to you, and you stop in your tracks, entranced. So, this one is your piece? You manage a muffled affirmation. Tell me about it, please. As you start discussing your inspiration, technique, and process, the man's eyes lock into the painting again. He keeps injecting, making known remarks. This guy gets it. He really gets it. The world around you disappears. You say anything, do anything to keep his attention on you, but you realize you don't need to. He's into your art. He's into you. Uwu, I want to buy it, and I want your company. I need to talk to you. You will like what I have to say. Spoken matter-of-factly, served straight up, like he knows that you won't refuse, that you can't refuse. An hour later, you find yourself at his apartment, one of many, you presume, with your self-esteem all but patched up and your head full of fine vintage. You tell your host a lot. In fact, it seems like you're telling him everything. Where you came from, how you end up in New York City, how you had to take a loan to appear at tonight's event, how you took the long look down the balcony, that you thought about taking the plunge, and this time you were only half joking. You feel miserable. You start crying. He holds you in his arms. You feel calmer. Tears stop flowing. It's been so long since you last had someone who could not just talk to, but communicate with, be seen by. Who knows? Maybe there's hope for you yet. That feeling of bliss is the last thing you remember before passing out. Next thing you know, you've been lying on the couch in the same apartment, hungry, dehydrated. How long has it been? Hours? Days? More? You're feeling weak, confused, abandoned. I wonder what we did. You look around in a panic. Is he still here? Thank God, yes. There he is, standing in the doorway. His voice breaks the silence and fills you with hope until you realize what he's saying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I hope that maybe one night you will forgive me. Always. Remember that in your parting moments I wished you well. You try to speak. Ask him to stay. But no voice leaves your perched throat. You taste something on your lips. Wiping your mouth leaves a crimson stain on your hand. It's not the wine. What the fudge? The door apartment closed behind him. Alone. Again. Then the pain hits. It's a headache, a lurching in your stomach, a burning in your arms and legs. It's all you can focus on. A panic takes you. You fall from the sofa, hit a wine glass. It flies off into a wall, shattering into bits. A mumble from the corner of the room indicates that you are not alone, as you thought. From where you are lying, you only see a feminine shape stirring awake. You crawl towards the woman, inch by inch. The pain turns into an urge. You need to get closer to her. You begin to see details. The long hair shrouded her face, the worn-out New York hoodie thrown over her skimpy dress. She opens her eyes, moves her locks to the side, exposes her neck. A rabid instinct takes you. In a blink of an eye, you find yourself buried in her hair, smelling her sweat mixed with just a hint of cheap perfume. You bite down and drink the blood from her vein. Wait. What is happening? You break away. You look at the girl. She lets out a sigh, goes limp and unconscious again. And you crawl back, her dress rolled up to the side, and you glance at her naked thigh. You lose control again. You bite her leg. You drink deep from the artery. It's intoxicating. It's bliss, like you never known before. It's beautiful. You break away again. You fall to your back. What the hell was that? Did you really drink her blood? She's not moving. Oh God, she's not moving. You check the pulse. She's cold to the touch. Nothing. No heartbeat. No sign of breathing. That's when it hits you. Your chest isn't moving either. Your heart's not beating. You are cold to the touch. You reach for your phone. It's not there. Where did you leave it? Or maybe he took it. Impossible to say. You stumble around the apartment, but find nothing you can use to call for help. You need to get out of here. Now. You look outside the window. You're high above the streets. There's no balcony, and the building's exterior is a glass, almost all the way down. You'll never survive the jump. But maybe that's precisely why you should leave this room this way. You just killed somebody. Your life is essentially over. A sickening void is open in your stomach, warning you that your reality is about to turn into unbearable hell. A voice in the back of your head tells you that the smartest course of action is to take the leap before it does. The more you argue with it, the more reasonable it sounds. You're just about ready to pick up one of the chair and try to break the window. Then you hear a clicking of the keys in the lock. You freeze in place. This is bad. Your thoughts start racing desperately, but instead of a rational course of action, only visions of false hope come to your mind. What if it's him? What if he had changed of heart? What if he sent someone for me? You almost feel your heart beat again with excitement as the door opens. Almost, but not quite. The man enters, but not the one you expected. A tall, broad-shouldered handsome, with darkish skin, his suit is stylish and immaculate. You never seen him in your life, but you immediately see past his sharp looks to see a sharper nature. He is a predator, and if you're not careful, you might become his prey. Good evening. I'm here to pick you up. A deep, emotionless voice. He turns his eye to the lifeless body of the girl in the New York City hoodie and raises an eyebrow. Who are you? I killed her. This isn't what it's looked like. Yeah. Which one should I choose? It seems like you guys are interested in the people, so number 3. This isn't what it looks like. Please, you have to help me. That's what I'm here for, after a fashion. He approached the bed to examine the corpse from up close. Well, this is unfortunate, but preferable into going insane from hunger. It is quite a nice gesture, actually, if troublesome. He briefly looks at you with something like a pity in his eye, then changes his expression to a perfectly blank one. Listen, you may perceive your current situation as something out of the ordinary, but I met hundreds of lost sheep like you, and you see, they tend to fall into 2 categories. First, they're the smart ones who carefully obeyed my every word and didn't pull any stupid stunts. They have always got where they need to go safe and sound. Then they're the dumb ones, the punks who thought they could take me on, the wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly without permission, the troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, a lot of them never reached their destination at all. The man talks in a bored, professional tone, giving off an impression that he really has delivered his speech countless of times by now. So you see, despite being a smart person, I'm a Mets fan. I love baseball. And it's inspired me to come up with a 3-strike system to determine if someone is dumb. If you get on my nerves 1 or 2 times, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful circumstances. Is it because he likes baseball? But if you do it 3 times, understand that will be no excuse, no forgiveness, no mercy. By the way, I just guessed what mats were. I have no idea. His presence changed ever so slightly. Say, I understand, sir. Now. You feel an overwhelming, barely resistible urge to fulfill his demands. F you, sir? I understand, sir? What are you talking about? I understand, sir. Excellent. All right. Have you got anyone you like to inform about your current situation? And tell them you're all right? He flashes his fangs briefly as he talks, and for some reason, the slight cause of a chill run down your spine. Something's wrong with him. Someone closest to you? My sister? Lie. Run away. Away. Run away. Run away. Run away. Honestly, I don't trust him. But also, he did kind of seem like he was gonna kill me if I ran away. Oh, I just realized that these are moons. A lie? Okay. His name is Aldero. He's my boyfriend. He lives in Queens. He's a barista, and the stranger's been watching you with her very eyes. That was funny. The stranger's been watching you with weary eyes since the moment you started talking, but only interrupts you at the first moment of visible hesitation. You are 100 years too young to try to fool me, Bulb. Even if you even your tells have tells. First strike, try again. Your first instinct is to protest, but you realize your thoughts are still too scrambled and panicked to come up with anything coherent. You give up on all planned attempts to provide poor Eduardo with a convincing psychological depth. I don't think it worked. Emma, my sister. She probably is having a night out in Brooklyn with her artiste friends. Can I call her now? You take out your phone while asking the question. I thought I didn't have the phone. It was in your pocket all along. It must have been panic talking before. He shakes his head and points at the hood corpse next to him. Probably as dangerous as he is now. Wait. If you want to if you want to implicate her, go ahead. I think we'd all be better off if you let me make sure that she only knows what she needs to know. Yeah, agreed. Give me her phone number and I'll have someone get in touch with her. You obliged and hand him the smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this night onward, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up with, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anybody know you are still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes to search for you, it's over, both for you and them. Thanks for the lurk. I don't have any commands up because this is my first stream. He interrupts his monotone recitation to stare deep into your eyes. So if you don't want someone to find your poor sister's body in the Hudson River next week, cooperate. The sight of his fangs, again, and another physical fight or flight response. You played right into his hands, putting him in danger. I could only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. By now, you're absolutely sure he's just toying with you, provoking you to feed on your reaction. He hasn't told you where you're going yet, but he's already made it abundantly clear that a lot of people struggled hard to avoid getting there. You'd be far more eager to cooperate if he never raised the subject, but he made it a point to make you fear the unknown. He's pushing you, but to what end? Does he want you to intimidate you into complete submission? Is he helping you give him an excuse to get rid of you? Or maybe he's testing you, forcing you to show what you're made of. Somehow, he makes all of these options seem plausible at once. Alright, I think that's enough lectures for today. He takes a glance at his silver watch. It's a Patek Philippe? The kind of brand where mortals never see that outside of luxury lifestyle magazines. Just who are you dealing with here? It's past 3 a.m. now. The sun will come up in just a few hours, so we don't have much time. Come, we need to leave so that your corpse can be taken care of. He turns his back to you to unlock the door. Head out, attack him from the back. I'll wait for the police. I think I'm only on strike 1 though, so... He probably won't kill me if I make something else up. I'll head out. Okay. That's fine. You obediently follow him out of the room. Before he locks it again, you manage to take a final glimpse of the corpse. You feel a pang conscience, but not because your victim's horrible fate. It's because you don't feel guilty, even though you know you should. Something important inside of you that was still there yesterday has definitely died tonight. You wonder if you even recognize yourself in the mirror. The strangers show you to the elevator. You go to the ground floor. During the awkward ride, your dazed and confused mind desperately searches for a glimmer of hope, and eventually comes across one. Maybe you'll find the man you met earlier this night. Who was that man? What happened to that man? What did that man do to me? I feel like Yari would want this one. Do you know who was the man that brought me here? That's what I would like to know. And as of yet, he is unidentified. They have left no trace, and it's obviously they were not planning to come back for you. If, and this is a big if, you ever see them again, it will be tomorrow, and probably for the last time. I feel like this. I feel like number one. I want to see him. This compulsion is natural, but for now, I could only say this. It lies in its best interest to never see you again. The elevator opens to an empty hall. You walk outside, past the night's guard post, which is empty. The cold night air reminds you of the balcony just a few hours ago. The man motions to the black Cadillac Escalade. Take a seat in the back, please. You get inside. The man closes the car door behind you. You hear a click as it locks. The Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man... Why do we have a reflection of him? I thought we can't see reflections of vampires. The man gets into the driver's seat and starts the engine and drives away without comment. Where are we going? Am I drugged? I feel horrible. Considering this is Vampire the Masquerade, I don't think that's a good bet. Also, I think I remember some other vampires that like baseball too. But I really don't consider them vampires. You feel horrible? I feel horrible. I feel horrible. As you should. Okay, I'll save you. Oops. There you go. I timed Yeti out. Did that save you? I think. Oh, I didn't mean for that long. As you should. I don't think I'm ready for that yet. He gives you a little side glance in the rear view mirror as he bites his lip. Forgive me, I'm not in a talkative mood. This won't be a long drive. Patience. Dead silence fills the car. You close your eyelids and slink back into your thoughts. A blurry after image of the man who bought your painting is still there. It's strange. You never felt this way about anybody. It makes you happy, even though you have the nagging thought that there is something fundamentally abusive about his attraction. But then the girl hair spilled over in a purple hoodie, and her blood spilled over the cold floor comes into sharp focus. You wince. You want to cry. But it's as if there was no more tears left in you. After what feels like an eternity, the car comes to a stop. You get out in an underground parking lot. It's an ugly concrete gray thing, empty, but for a car you came in. It looks like there's a room beyond the metal door in the wall. Guess you'll live to see another night. Follow me. He opens the metal door and lets you inside. Here we are. These are your lodgings for tonight. If you get hungry again, take a look in the fridge. Tomorrow, I will come pick you up. The cramped room has no windows, but a simple bed, a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling, a small humming fridge, and a rattling AC fan in the wall. It has all the coziness of a solitary prison cell. You notice claw marks on the inner side of the entrance door. I need to go and check on my dog. Be right back, too. Sorry. There was no option missed. We just got to this room with claw marks, and there's some food in the refrigerator in a room that we haven't seen yet. I'm pretty sure the vampire claw marks, but I need medical help. Not going in there. Mercy, please. Do you want to choose the option? Before you shut up now? Mercy, please. You've got to have some mercy. Man, let me go. Ha, mercy? Mercy? No, it's too late for that. Listen, normally I lose my nerve right about now, and things would get nasty. But I get it. You're scared. You don't understand what's happened. Trust me, you will learn more tomorrow. But now, I need you to rest. And you need to rest. He gestures inside the room. Such a cozy room. I like the fan. Finding no more willpower to resist, you step inside. The stranger nods contently. Good night. He locks the door behind you. It looks very secure and sturdy. You open the fridge. There is a single plastic bag there, filled with red liquid. Unlabeled. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Best leave it for now. You lie down on the bed. It's a simple mattress on a metal frame, kind of grimy and damp. Seeing it makes you grimace, but you're just too tired not to lie down. Your entire body hurts, a dull feeling that makes you feel heavy. That's not until a little bit later. You just turned. You feel vulnerable and lonely. I think you did, Dan, from the end of your stream. You feel vulnerable and lonely. Usually, when that happened, you turn your attention to painting, just not to think about the alternative. Your family upbringing left you with no skills but artistic talent. Creating art used to be something of an unpleasant duty. Somewhere along the line, although it became the only weapon you had to fight with existential despair. Some of your best work was created in lieu of important crying in bed. Hell, you're pretty sure a few of those pieces had your tears mixed in with the paint, like the painting that led your whole night to this. No comment, Yadi. You look back to your life, and it starts looking like a downward spiral. You are so tired, your entire body tenses up, and before you know it, you drift away into oblivion. You're not innocent. You wake up. That is itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. I think you already have a timeout redeemed, though. No, I think she means chat. You imagine that how death feels like. Only here, not in your. The room is unchanged. No comment. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on. The AC is still rattling. The refrigerator still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone, and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? I'm not even sure what you were trying to say, Yeti. You're not sure about that, but you are certain about one thing. You are hungry. It is not your stomach rumbling, though. It needs that start somewhere in your abdomen and spread to your chest, throat, and the back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag is still there. You take a closer look at it. If it's soup, then the color and texture are off. You pull the cork out, Take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. Hello. Welcome back, Matsum Mazakmo. I feel like I'm mispronouncing your name. Holy stuff. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint, and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating. But now it's almost. No, not almost. It is enticing. Put the bag back, drink the blood. This is almost the neck, right? I'm going to take a little sippy sip. It feels wrong, but right now, there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. It tastes bland, reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as to what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had the last time. You swallow it. Somehow, it doesn't. You don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but think it feels nourishing. You take a few more sips, and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little more. It's like a Capri Sun. Eventually, you find that you emptied it entirely. All you look at the info. Yes, we sucked on a Capri Sun. That was mostly blood. Eventually, you find that you've emptied it entirely. You look at the info pressed into the side of the bag. 450 milliliters of it. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. You realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when the image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try to piece your thoughts together, make sense of it all, when you heard the lock click and see the door open. Standing there is a well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again, that predatory look, like a hawk on a hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. So, like a tamed hawk, maybe. I only bonked you because Ducky said to. Good evening. Did you sleep well? He noticed the discarded empty bag. Unless you push it a little bit. Well, I only did that because of Ducky, though. And because it would be funny. He noticed the discarded empty bag. I see you had a bit of a snack. Yeah, got any more? Was that really blood? Am I still human? Yeah, snacky sounds nice right now. I did. Got any more? No, and don't expect sustenance to be this easy to find the next time. Come on, we got places to be. Aw, they don't have food anymore. The car is hummed in the empty parking lot, just outside the door of the cramped room you've spent the day in. The man's motions to it, politely but with stern look on his face. Rush the stranger, get inside the car, hijack the car. I'm not sure how I would hijack the car. I just get inside because I think I'm still on strike one. Okay, lead the way. After you. You take the backseat again. The door is locked. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch a glimpse of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. The car is also soundproofed, so all you could hear is bits of traffic coming and the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked. Alright. The piece of dark glass separating you from the front of the car looks sturdy too. There's nothing left to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize now that you're hungry? No, not exactly. It's not rumbling stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spread to your chest, throat, and the back of the head. You try to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realize you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected, but you spend the rest of the trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concern blood. It takes you another 20 or so minutes to get your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York. That's much is certain. Queens, maybe? Wait, you know exactly where you are. The nice looking two-story building has a logo you immediately recognize. The Art Hall, an avant-garde gallery. You used to hold that collection of bagged viscera and body parts by. You can't quite remember the guy's name. He's Brazilian? You think Fabio something or other? After me. No sudden movements, please. You never been inside. Not quite your style, but the place has a quite cult following. You keep racking your brain for more facts, hoping they'll help you with whatever you got into. Two large men in suits flank the door to the gallery on both sides, and they give your companion a nod as you approach, prompted by the stranger who guides you. You walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour, to say the least. About 2 dozen faces filled the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gatherings, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guests' attention. The visitors are well dressed, for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the wall, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. The glances are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces, and an animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. Memories come back to you like a bad case of PTSD. How many times before had someone judged you impassively or decisively through your art? You share your piece of yourself with the world, and it responds by making you feel like garbage. Mood. It always took a lot of effort to not lose your cool and tell all of them to shove their opinions where they don't, to the collective where they don't belong. Now looking around, it feels like you've become another artwork as a commodity to be judged by a bunch of obscenely wealthy, out of touch, meanie faces. It makes you want to scream. Good evening, Quadir, and to you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. The gallery, the crowd of strangers. You're being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, miss. Excuse me, what? Quadir, huh? You have a opinion, or like which one should I choose? Oh. So we went inside this art gallery and everyone just judging me. Oh. I don't need a dictionary. So we just went to art gallery and everyone just judging me like I'm the art piece. And a woman, good evening, queer, and to you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. The gallery, crowd strangers. You being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, miss. Excuse me, what? Quadir, huh? Miss? Good evening, miss. You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helene Pennard, child of Michaela. Thank you, my sheriff, but I'm capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain looking and doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm. But still, the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has an influence over these people. That is much clear. New. Usually these come up with weird word. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. What? I plead the fifth. The rules of our society dictate I punish you both for this transgression. A murmur of agreement, maybe? You be heard from the gathered audience. But I'm willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. I don't understand. Remain silent, my sire? Silence. You decide it is best to stay silent and listen to the whole situation unfold. It feels like you're out of your depth here. Shall we begin? You're about to be judged by the court of New York City. Quadier, please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Is this some kind of secret society make-believe? A trusted informant who has been chosen to remain anonymous at this time tipped me off about suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. Interestingly, his sire made use of an older haven of one of the clan of the Rose for the embrace. They were even thoughtful enough to have a local woman for the fledglings to slink his thirst on. Despite some reservations, he offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased to not have forced his compliance. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. A pleasant departure from my usual routine, I must say. Please ignore my dog. His thirst partially slated with the bagged blood we kept in the safe house, we had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take a special interest in one of their faces. It's a beautiful woman, a curly, almost blood-red hair, and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Yeah, sorry about him. Thank you, Quadier. I take note of this fledgling's behavior and will take it into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there's a matter of your sire. The person who brought you where Quadier picked you up from last night. Who were they? Sire? What does that mean? A beautiful man. I assumed. He was beautiful, charismatic, charming, dark-haired, a sort of artistic mess. Had an accent I couldn't recognize. He took notice of my art, bought a piece. In fact, I want to meet him again. The last sentence came out almost involuntarily. You immediately feel ashamed, sounding like a sad puppy whimpering after their master. Yes, you do want to meet that man again. It's an urge deeper than you ever felt. Maybe even love? No, that's idiotic. He never even introduced himself to you. He used you. That meanie face just plain used you. For what? Well, Kadir, does that sound familiar? No, it does not. Or at least not familiar enough. I will continue the search after we're done here. Can I go now? What happens now? He bought a painting. You could track him. You bought a painting? That guy. He bought my painting at the gallery. Didn't pay in cash, I think. Maybe you could track him that way? If you live enough for that. The guy, yeah. Oh, did your outlook on him change all of a sudden? He smirks, seamlessly enjoying your misery. Personal jabs aside, thank you for that observation. I will investigate this later. What shall I do with this fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? The traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thy elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy prodigy shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duties. Stay your hand for just a moment longer, courtier. I wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom, and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask this courtier, what all that talk of traditions and council was, when a red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie? Sheriff, I wonder if I could have a word with this fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, courtier. We all know what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You might not have to strain your hand tonight after all. Her words grab his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for dominion. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room the way you came, and you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside. The eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you are in quite the pickle. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeti's always like that. Am I wrong? Dan, do you want to choose something? We just kind of... Second option? What was about that a sword? Wait, did I hear that right? What did he say about a sword? Your hearing isn't faulty. We'll only have a short while before the prince hears her counsel out and Quidir returns here with his blade. So listen, please. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I am well aware how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reason why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred, being embraced, having a sire, the facts remain. The being, it's called vampires. You're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in a hushed tone. Many of the patrons are pale, really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. No, not wine. That's not right. Thickness. That's not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night. There's no denying it. And your breathing has not returned. Your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head starts battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, WTF, WTF, on repeat. You're surprised? This is often how it plays out by design. Quidir deliberately keeps you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down, as sure as the day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. Thank you for the lurk. I will take you under my wing. If you are lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight, and your defense to Quidir will work in your favor. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. She's a vampire. I don't think us nomming her would be a good idea. Unless that's not what you mean. I also see what you did in your Discord, Yeti. You forgot that you did that? She announced me on her Discord saying, hey, I'm streaming here. I'm not making this offer lightly. Oh, yes. I didn't want her doing that either, by the way. She even announced me at the end of her stream. You could probably see it in the VODs. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I will make sure you face the consequences. I'm gonna be right back really quickly. I'm sorry my dog got into something. I'm not making this offer lightly. Yeah, I read this. What happens if I agree? What if I refuse? I don't want to die. Am I loved though in your chat? I got a notification and I panicked thinking someone else followed me too. Another person shouted me out, but I'm good. They didn't. It was someone else. Yes, I'm looking at Discord as well. What happens if I agree? What if I refuse? I don't want to die. Mm, yeah. Which one should I choose? I think Getty's gone. I think she's doing her work. Suppose I say yes. What happens then? I did play this a little bit just through the introduction multiple times because I messed up. So I kind of know what happens in this introduction area. You survive, hopefully, or not, depending on the prince's whim. I'm giving you a chance, not a guarantee. But if you take me as your patron, I will be your guide into this new reality, and you will assist me like a child would a sire. Steps and hushed voices can be heard from the side of the room. It seems the prince and her council are returning to the showroom. Courtier appears from downstairs as well as starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile towards Courtier, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by a curved, ornate-looking metal scabbard fastened with a colorful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Courtier takes his place next to you and observes as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of the New York City Camera gathered here tonight, I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. I want you to know this was not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have not done anything to earn our ire. I do feel a genuine sorrow for what must be done. We are all keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There's no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under constant threat. Although I acknowledge some of my council's divergent opinions on this, she takes a long look specifically at one of the people who left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man whose skin has somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in deference. No. I hold the final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declared that while the embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence, it is their prerogative that must be punished. The sentence is final death, to be resolved presently, Courtier. You hear a scraping sound and see that the sheriff has unsheathed his curved sword. It's a beautifully detailed blade, which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. Two outs, bottom of the line, bottom of the ninth. Is quiet. I thought I was a triplet. His quiet mumbled is audible to nobody but you. They're siblings. Of course, they all say stuff like that to each other. I don't think they'll be offended. His eyes meet yours. You know, just a hint of sadness in his countenance. One that quickly vanishes to give way to a grim determination. So while you were gone, Yadi, Sophie, the red-haired, red-dressed vampiress, said, "Hey, I'll take you under my wing. Just say, hey, please have mercy. If not, you're probably gonna die." And Quidir has a sword that's probably gonna behead us. And he's out to bat. You would not get another chance to speak up. Ask for mercy, escape the gallery, remain silent. Okay. You meet the red-haired woman gaze. She's looking at you expectantly. You sink into despair. You're dead. She confirmed as much, and now you're expected to become a slave? Your life is over. That all there is to it. Whatever this nightmare is, it's time for it to end. Maybe it's all just a bad dream, waiting for you to wake up. The blade slashes your neck as a single clean cut. There's no stirring from this uneasy sleep. Just an endless void of nothingness. The endless void of nothingness. The endless void of nothingness. Well, that's such a great game. I hope you guys had fun. We ended the game, yay! It was such a good speed run of the game. We were already dead, we were vampires. Leslie J, they did a good job. Oh, Cassie giving her the insight of vampire lore. I can't do anything here. It's just gonna be streams. Yeah. All my love to my partner and dog for their endless support. Made with Unity. It was such a fun game. By the way, there's no saving and loading in here. There's no save scumming. There's no different thing. I can't undo that decision. New game. See? No save spots. Choose your clan. Baruja, the rebel against the power and rage against the authority. A seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join their ranks tonight. Ventur, an aristocratic blue blood embodied wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join their ranks tonight. Or Theodore, the clan Theodore. The divas seek thrills, art, romance, and cruelty amongst significant and death. The tormented artists will join the ranks tonight. Do you have a choice on which one? Because I only played the Theodore clan. So I don't know the other two. Ducky, do you have an opinion? My canon name's Amanda. I think we already did this part. You asked me about? Yeah, you did this part, so I'm going to be skipping through this part. This is how it begins. Your phone rings. It's your boss again. The setting sun that's filled your high-rise office an hour ago is gone. The city looks like an ocean of light from up here, spreading miles to the north. You pick up. You are about to call it a day, forgetting about the world of fintech and decompress at home. No dice. One of the investors wants to meet you. His voice, as always, the perfect mix of authority and sleaze. He'll come by your office in an hour. You look at the clock. An hour? He's got to be kidding. Yeah, I know. I'll stick around. He's a heavyweight. You want to make a good impression. Excuse me. Fine. You grit your teeth a little. The boss hangs up. 2 hours. Might as well pour another coffee into yourself and figure out how to best use this to your advantage. You suspect everyone knows that no, you're actually not happy with your current position. That, in fact, you feel squished against the glass ceiling that comes with the territory. Sure, your idiot superior might have gotten the job only because he's a CEO's golfing buddy. But you're going to put the unholy amount of work into your advancements. Times where you laugh off the idea of staying at the office until 9 p.m. You had a partner to go home to, the nightly Netflix and chill ritual to perform, complete with pizza or Chinese takeout. Ever since you moved up the ladder, though, your hours have gotten longer. Food? Mostly at the company cafeteria, sometimes takeout. Always in a rush. You praise the heavens for your crazy metabolism and dread the day it finally decides to give up. Rest? At this point, the cleaning lady takes care of your apartment, probably spends more time in your bedroom than you do. We're doing a different person. I forgot who I am. But this is a different story. You flash back to your boss's quoting Shakespeare to impress his new, extremely attractive, and uncomfortably young secretary. From some must watch while others must sleep. So run the world away. Yeah, I actually think that we are Yeti. Drinks? Mostly with colleague, and they're all pretty much hate you at this point. Another flashback, this time to the most profitable quarter in the company's history. Still, the board decides that layoffs were in order. Your boss didn't feel like letting people know in person, so he passed that privilege onto you. You gotta hand it to him. He always knew how to pick his battles. But maybe, just maybe, tonight is the night it's all going to change. You decide to play the good looks angle. Nothing too slutty. You leave your blouse slightly unbuttoned. Check if your looks as good as you remembered in your pencil skirt. Mirror says yes. It's nothing that you're proud of, but you become too jailed to care. Yes, with this for this new person that's supposed to, yeah, another. Now, in your luck, the investor is going to be one of the two types: self-obsessed musk wannabe in his 20s, or a fat old pervert drenched in cologne. You hear the elevator ding. Time to get this. Time to get the show on the road. You take one final look in the mirror and fix your hair as the footsteps echo across the empty hallway. The man approached your office. Is not what you expected. Who were you referring that to? I am gonna deny it. No. I know you weren't referring to anyone, but it's just like random. Did deny it though. He's slick, to be sure, but seems a bit more refined than your usual company man. Expensive suit, matching tie and shirt, confident his stride, surprisingly good looking. Good evening. I hope this unforeseen visit isn't too much of an inconvenience. God, that voice. You take in aback how smooth and strong it is, and his eyes, steel blue, cold, intense. He's all business, professional, treats you in the manner that appropriate to your stature. When he speaks, he actually looks you in the eye and not at your cleavage. He asks some questions about your work, tells you how he noticed your input after talking to the CEO. Another golfing buddy? This comes charmingly close to calling your boss an incompetent doofus. All the while, you try to guess his accent, but can't quite place it. European? Sure, but from where? I've no. You kept you long enough. But would you indulge me and join me for a drink? Of course, for a minute there it seemed like he wasn't that kind of guy. But what the hell? You go with it. He seems nice enough. Besides, it's not like you have other plans. The investor has a limo waiting downstairs, and the driver takes you to a high-end restaurant in Williamsburg. A seat is waiting for you in the deluxe lounge. It's just the two of you. You talk about this and that. You complain. Your companion seems to have a knack for history. So tell me, what would you do if you had full control of the company? You almost choke on your wine. This is your chance. You say what's been on your mind for months, but hide it behind a veneer of professional co-op babble. Corporal battle. Refocusing, listening to your instincts for once, restructuring, kicking out your boss, aggressively pursuing the new market, getting the hell away from all these horrible people. He likes the sound of that. He leans forward, his eyes flash with intensity and something else. A strange emotion that wasn't there before. You'll do fine. His words echo inside your head as you black out. You wake up, God only knows how much later. As you try to piece together what happened, you hear a familiar voice. The investor, or whoever the hell he is, talking to someone. You suddenly recall snippets, fragmented memories. I think we're still at the restaurant, though. His sapphire eyes intently locking with yours, his teeth suddenly longer and sharper. And something else, a feeling of your neck that takes you back to the last... I didn't know that word was in there, here. A company trip to Florida. A sweaty room. A cutie for HR who doesn't work there anymore. And then darkness. Oh, yes, I am done here. Consider my debt paid. The investor pushes the other figure aside and walks away from the lounge, barely bothering to look at you. The doors lock behind him. Some time passes before you find the strength to get up from the couch. You touch your lips. Blood. What did that meanie face hit you? Did that meanie face hit you? You try to stand up, but your head is pounding and your stomach is like a heavy knot pulling you down. You didn't have much to drink. You must have spiked your wine. This is bad. You frantically check your clothes. Pristine. Doesn't make any sense. All of a sudden, a feeling hits you unlike anything else you ever felt before. You fall to the floor, withering in all-encompassing pain and hunger. That kind that makes your insides burn, that cannot be denied. You try to calm yourself with breathing exercises they taught you in some stupid mindfulness course. That's when it hits you. You're not breathing. And holy mackerel, your heart should be jumping out of your chest with realization. But it's not moving, not even a beat. The door unlocks. You hear a startled voice. A young man in a waiter's outfit, his accent thick with an Eastern European harshness, leans over and asks if you're alright. For a brief moment, you wonder what the hell he's doing here. Everything is wrong. Then his smell reaches your nostrils. It's intoxicating. Everything feels right again. He holds out his arm to help you stand up. You grab it firmly with both hands, and you bite down. You sink your teeth right next to the old school pin-up tattoo of Rita Hayworth on his forearm. It takes you a moment to process what you're doing. The part of you wants to break away, but a stronger voice implores you to keep drinking. One thing becomes clear. You are definitely enjoying this. He only struggles a little bit and quickly falls to his knees. You can see his eyes now, pale blue and confused. You only bring yourself to let him go once he collapsed to the floor. Your bite leaves a mess on his forearm. Poor Rita, all bloodied, missing half her face. Did you just drink this guy's blood? You spit out a piece of torn flesh. That's a... Why? Where? What was in that crazy wine? Barely able to focus, your heart and your lungs still motionless, you reached for your phone and dial 911. 911 operator, what's your emergency? 911 operator, where's your emergency? My heart stopped. I can't breathe. I killed somebody. Can you hear my other dog? I'll be right back taking care of the dogs. One moment. Sorry about that. That dog turns into a popsicle if he's out in the snow and can't be stand out there that long. Otherwise, he does get hurt. Um, do you have an option? Because I haven't seen any of these. Why are you sorry? You can't breathe? I I can't breathe. Ma'am, where are you right now? The door to the lounge swings open. The man who enters is not the one that brought you here, though there are similarities. He is tall for one, broad shoulders, handsome, dressed in an immaculate suit. Oh, that's cool. Yay, almost done with work. Hopefully you're not going to get in trouble for being on Twitch. But his skin is darker, and look on his face tells you that he's not here to negotiate a deal. He noticed the smartphone in your hand. Pass me the phone if you want to live. The man's voice is persuasive, calm, but carrying clear threat. But carrying clear threat. You've got an aura of vicious efficiency, corporate shark. You find it hard to argue with them. Hello, ma'am? Hello? I apologize for wasting your time. My new colleague got drunk and is now trying to impress everyone with her antics. Good night. He disconnects the call and places your phone in his pocket. For what for whatever reason, he could barely take your eyes off the stranger. As hypnotizing as his presence is, though, is almost highly discomforting. Good evening, miss. I'm here to pick you up. Who are you? Pick me up? Call me an ambulance. Haha, you're an ambulance. I feel like Yeti got a phone call. Um, I haven't done any of these, so all of these are new. So call me an ambulance seems kind of funny if he makes a joke. Please, I need you to call an ambulance. Someone else is taking care of that. The stranger approaches the waiter and examines his body. Critical condition, but he might live. Anyways, he sits. He then sets his sights on you. I know this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you, and going by experience, they tend to fall into two categories. First, there's the smart ones who carefully obey my every word and don't try to pull off anything stupid. I always get them where they need to be, safe and sound. And then there are the dumb ones, the punks who thought they could take me on, the wise guys who tried to contact somebody secretly without permission, the troublemakers who tried to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored, monotone. You could tell he's given the speech before, like dozens of times. So, you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I am also a Mets fan. It's my one true weakness. One that inspired me to come up with the three strike system when dealing with pups like you. If you get on my nerves once or twice, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But cross me three times and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he talk, as he, as he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of a theoretical swagger to his walk. Eventually, he leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. You realize it's a test. He's daring you to do something about it. Three strikes and you're out. I say, I understand, sir. Now. Every atom of your being screams for you to obey his authority. You have the same questions, same answers that we had before. I understand, sir. Stick to that tone, and you'll do just fine. Moving on, is there anyone you want to inform of your current situation? Tell them you're all right. He flashes his fangs briefly, and for some reason, the sight sends chills down your spine. There's something very wrong about him. Someone closest to you? There's no light option, which is kind of interesting. There's no one. No, I don't have anyone. The stranger squints at you. No family, no lover, no friends, nothing. A job. Your blank you bl- your blank stares tells him the whole story. He immediately stops prying and gives you something even worse than a look of pity, a look of honest compassion. Well, that makes things simpler. but let me try to be crystal clear, just in case. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched with many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. To practice tone again, you put on your poker face and listen in silence. So unless you want your bus to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I suggest you cooperate. Don't tempt me. He smiles, revealing his fangs again. There's something absolutely sickening about it. Suddenly, you feel overwhelmed by a sense of exhaustion, and you pass out. When you regain your senses, you find yourself in a stranger's arms. The man is holding you as you would a spouse who had a little too much to drink. You try to break free, but he holds you close and gives you a cautioning look. Only when you cease your struggling does he let you go. Only now do you notice the change in scenery. You find yourself in a fancy lobby right next to the elevator. The place is virtually empty. A safe for a single concierge and some cleaning staff. Your companion gesture at the concierge as you pass as he picks up the phone. The elevator arrives. The door opens and Mans motions towards the cabin. After you. I'm gonna stream. I'm not going anywhere. Where are we going? Where are we going? To a safe place. That's all you need to know. Trust me, you don't want to make this difficult. Just get in. Call for help? Demand to be let go? Step inside the elevator. Going against your instincts, you enter the cabin. Smooth jazz is playing over the speaker as the elevator starts its descent. You gaze panically, but somehow locked in place. On the one hand, you find the stranger's presence oddly soothing. On the other, you can feel your body tensing up with stress. You can't help but think back to the young waiter, doe-eyed on his face, the confused look he gave you just before. No, it's better not to think about it. Plus, you have other things to worry about, like the fact that you're being kidnapped. This place looks different. The cabin doors open in the same garage you arrived at with the investor some hours ago. The man shows you a black Cadillac Escalade. I know what you're thinking, getting in a car with some strange man. Boy, seems like a dumb idea. Maybe I can make a run for it. I might be able to lose him. So let me be perfectly clear. Your best bet is to get in. Relax and enjoy the ride. I have money. What do you want? The waiter. Do you think the waiters upstairs is gonna be alright? Yes. You look at him in the eye, immediately tell he is lying. No more questions. Get in the car, please. Make a run for it, or get in the car. It seems like the worst idea ever, but the man made it very clear that you have no choice in the matter. What's your name? I got friends. Are you going to hurt me? Can I at least know your name? You'll know it when the time is right. He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Listen, you really need to quit stalling. We're on a bit of a schedule here. The sun comes up in about 2 hours, and I don't intend to be here when it does. The sun? The schedule? What's this about? What does it matter when the sun comes up? Ah, you really don't know, do you? Good thing I got here when I did. He opens the car door and gestures towards it. You see no point in delaying the inevitable. You get in. The door locks behind you. The Cadillac is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets into the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. How am I alive? Is this a joke? Did I die? How am I alive? My it's not beating. Aren't you in big business? What do you need a heart for, anyways? Listen, I realize you have many questions. Tomorrow you will get some answers, but tonight you need to do what I say. And right now, I need some quiet, please. You feel too confused to protest. You stay silent for the rest of the ride, even as more questions bubble up to the surface. One of them being, did you actually kill someone tonight? Staring at the window, you find it hard to focus and quickly lose track of where you are headed. You can only tell that you haven't left Manhattan. Another underground parking, almost featureless, empty. The cars stop. The man opens the door for you. We're here. The stranger walks you to a nearby door. He opens it and motions at you to get in. Go in, make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry, again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow, and you'll get some answers. Behind the door is a small room. No windows, just a simple bed, a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. I'll be right back. My dog is kind of barking. Oh, welcome back. We got into a stranger's car and probably being kidnapped. But you already know what happened with that one before I died the first time. I assumed. Behind the door is a small room, no windows. There's a simple bed, a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. The small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan in the wall. You're leaving me here? That's not happening. Where are you going? Oh, when I forgot his name, but when the stranger says, "Do you have anyone?" He said, "You could have said, my boss." Like, if you're gonna, if you try to escape, you might see your boss in the Hudson River. Like, don't tempt me. That was a really funny moment. Let's see if I can find that quote. Moving on, there's someone closest to you? No, I don't have anyone. The stranger squints at you. No family? No lover? No friends? Nothing? A job? Your blank stare stares at him, and the whole story immediately stops prying and gives you something even worse than a look of pity. A look of honest compassion. Well, that makes things simpler. But let me be crystal clear in case. From this point on, you're subject to the different laws. We read that. You're forbidden to let anyone know you're here alive. You're forbidden showing face. So unless you want to see your boss end up at the bottom of the Houston, I suggest you cooperate. Don't tempt me. I think we accidentally picked you. Well, Dan picked you, technically. You're leaving me here? That's it? You're just gonna leave me here? That's it, for now at least. Look, this room is your best chance of seeing another night. I realize you've been put in a problematic situation, and it's not entirely your fault. Cooperate, and you might still make it. You will learn more tomorrow. But the time being, get in and get cozy. He gestures inside the room. Try to escape, step in the room. We were really a good girl, and did not stop and become a bother to him. Yeah, it kind of felt gross saying that. Step in the room. You step inside, the stranger nods. Good night. He locks the door behind you, and it looks very sturdy. I didn't think I did. I just said it just... It just felt gross saying it. You open the fridge, and there's a single plastic bag there, filled with red liquid, no label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. You best leave it for now. We already read this. And go sleep. You think back on how this evening began. The investor. Is he friends with a dark-skinned stranger who picked you up from the restaurant? It again. It again. I don't know. I think I said it correctly, right? What happened now? Unable to relax, you spend an hour or so. I'll come back. I didn't mean to do it indefinitely. There you go. There you go. Yeah, and timed out now. Hey, you won the bet. 113 messages. What happens now? Unable to relax, you spend an hour or so playing out various scenarios in your head. You eventually decide to give in and let exhaustion take over. Whatever tomorrow brings, you rather face it well rested. Plus, there's no way in hell your boss isn't going to notice your absence tomorrow. That, and maybe some of the restaurant staff will feel a pang of conscience. Someone will notify the police. Someone will find you, right? You flash back to the Raider's tattoo. The bloody Rita. You mean PG, not PC. Unless you mean political correctness, I don't know. No. The bloody Rita Hayworth winking at you over the paleness of the wound. You did this. You bit him. You drank his blood, and it tasted good. What if you can never go home again? You are so tired, your entire body tenses up one last time, and before you know it, you drifted away into oblivion. You wake up. That itself is a surprise. You barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into the endless void. You imagine that's how death feels like. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on, and the AC is still rattling. The refrigerator is still humming. You take a look at your watch. It's almost 9 p.m. You slept for 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Your breath is gone, and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify you as dead if you're still conscious? You're not sure about that, but you are certain about one thing. You are hungry. It's not your stomach rumbling, though. The need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spread to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge. The back is still there. You take a closer look at it. If it's soup, then its color and texture are off. You pull the cork out. Take a whiff. You recognize the smell immediately. There's no mistaking it. It's bagged blood. The smell is faint, and you remember some situation in the past where you find it nauseating. But now it's almost. No, not almost. It is enticing. Take a sippy sip, or put the bag back. I think Yeti would say take a sippy sip. Let's take a sippy sip. It feels wrong, but right, but right now, there's barely anything in your life that doesn't. To hell with it. You pour a bit of liquid into your mouth. It tastes like garbage. It's coppery, thick, clings to your tongue, and the inside of your mouth, like a film of dirt. You swallow hard, regardless. The foul tastes, but somehow you kind of want more of it. As you take a second sip, sucking the blood out of the bag, you feel something pull on your insides. You double over. You're going to barf. You instinctively cover your mouth, looking for a place to vomit. Before you find it, a dark red rave washes over your hands and fingers. It hits the floor, splattering a huge thick drops. You keep heaving for a moment longer. Nothing is coming out. Not blood, not bile, not even spit. But still something in your body wants to push it out. Push it all out. Every last drop. As you recover, trying to wipe droplets of regurgitated blood from your dress, you hear a lock click, and you see the door open. Standing there is a well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again, that predatory look, like a hawk on a hunt, but somehow more relaxed tonight. So like a tamed hawk, maybe. Good evening, how was? He noticed the splatter, your red hands, and a sick look on your face. He barely contained a smirk. Oh, was the catering unable to satisfy your exquisite taste? Apologies. Offer him a drink? Was it really blood? That was foul. Offer? You can't tell me you can drink this. He takes a bag over your hands and pours all of its containers into his mouth. He closes his eyes, theatrically savoring the taste. When he opens them a few seconds later, he looks sharper, energized. No worries. I assumed that you were almost done with the day. Not all of us are picky eaters. Come on, we got places to be. I should have some water, a towel in the back of the car, so you clean up yourself. The car is humming in the empty parking lot, just outside the door of the cramped room you have spent the day in. The man motions to it, politely, but with a stern face. Sorry, got a text. Oh yeah, I know. When you were gone, I was picking options too. The car was humming in an empty parking lot just outside the door. Just a cramped room where you spent the day in. The man motions to it, politely, with a stern face. Rush the stranger, get inside the car, or hijack the car? Are you gone, or you want this last decision? Get in the car. It's not like I have a choice, right? Correct. But your cooperation is appreciated, nevertheless. You take the back seat again. The door locks, the stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep catching a glimpse of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's of little use. The car is also soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic coming and the car's engine. The driver won't say anything and seems focused on the road. You check the door handle. Yeah, the door is locked. Alright. The piece of dark glass separating you from the front of the car looks sturdy too. There's nothing left for you to do but wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize now that you're hungry? No, not exactly. It's not rumbling the stomach that grabs your attention. It needs to start somewhere in your abdomen. It's a knee that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spread to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You become restless. This is essentially a kidnapping. Whatever this guy says about its purpose, it doesn't change. Hello. Doesn't change the fact that you're being held against your will, and you're not used to following orders when you can't delegate them to someone else. You feel a need to gain a semblance of control over the situation, so you decide to prove yourself useful. I know people in high places. I have worthwhile skills. I could get you a lot of money. I'll choose I know people in high places. Listen, I know how to reach people. Celebs, various industry leaders, politicians backed by rich lobbies. I doubt these will I doubt these will help you where you're going. You're playing in a whole different ballpark now. A short pause. I'll be frank. You're in no position to offer anybody anything. The sooner you accept that, the better. Curse him out, call him a nobody, ridicule his lack of ambition. I kind of want to curse him out. Pig-headed F-boy. Hey, language. A short pause. He actually looks insulted. Your attitude won't help you make any friends, and in your current position, you definitely need some. Consider that, preferably in silence. That dull hunger strikes again. Your powerless hurts. You are used to people listening to you, or pretending to care about your demands at least. The driver doesn't play that game and annoys you to no end. It takes you to another 20 or so minutes to get to your destination as the doors open and you try to get your bearings. You're still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe? After me. No sudden movements, please. You approach a nice looking building that houses a two-story great gallery called the Art Hole. Two large men in suits flank the door on both sides, and they give you your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full of which unusual hour, to say the least. About 24 faces fill the showroom, and a number of waiters navigate the gatherings, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guests' attention. The visitors are well dressed, and for the most part, it's unclear that they have gathered here for. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the walls, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Many guests turns to look at you, and the stranger who brought you here, their glance are varied. You see open contempt on a few faces, and animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. This reminds you of your company meetings. You are the only woman in the room, silently judged not on her merits, but on the standing on the list. Passes the clandestine email threads between your male co-workers until HR found out, that is. I'll be right back. I think someone's coming in my house. I apologize for that. Not the most pleasant experience, but there's no denying it. Taught you resilience. When others cower, you now straighten up. When others would turn their gaze to meet your eyes of the gallery, guess with confidence. Good evening, Quitter. And you, child. The noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. The gallery. Crowd of strangers. You being brought here against your will. For what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening, miss. Excuse me, what? What is this about? I'll do good evening, miss. Good evening, miss. You're addressing the Prince of New York City, Helene Pinard, child of Michaela. Thank you, my sheriff, but I'm capable of introducing myself. She is somewhat plain looking and does not seem to possess a great deal of charm. But still, the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people. That much is clear. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction to unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. The rules of our society delegate I punished you both for this transgression. The murmur of agreement, maybe? Can be heard from a gathered audience. But I'm willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances of your embrace first. I don't understand. Embrace? Is that a euphemism? Remains silence. Embrace? Is that what you call drugging a woman and in her private lounge? And you want to punish me for it? Embrace is much more than that. I shall inquire about how it happened later. First, we need to hear what Sheriff has to say. You're about to be judged by the court of the New York City Courier. Please tell us how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Prince? Is this some side of secret society make-believe? A trusted informant has chosen to remain anonymous at this time. Tip me off about suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. A reservation made in a private lounge of the petition suggested that one of the sires plenty had resources to spend. However, they apparently also well connected. I lost track of them. Despite some reservation, she offered little resistance. Last night, and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased not to have forced her compliance. Opening the door to the safe house tonight, I was greeted by the most disturbing sight of her drenched in regurgitated blood. Apparently the bag supply we kept at the fridge was not to her liking. A remark elect a contemptuous chuckle from one of the gathered guests as to note the remains of the blood on your skirt. It was not an elegant sight. That's hardly matters, I suppose. Moving on. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged her to join me, which she did without struggle. A pleasant departure from my usual routines, I may say. During the drive here, she showed me her fangs, metaphorically speaking, posturing as if we were equals, insulting me when it didn't work. I refrained from causing her physical harm, but I expect her ego might still be a bit bruised. He looks at you and flashes a nasty smile. The story ends with us arriving at Ecclesiam tonight. All eyes are on you again. You take a special interest in one of their faces. It is a beautiful woman with curly, most blood-red hair and the dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled man with an absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, to you wonder? Thank you, Courier. I'll take note of the fledgling's behavior, and will take into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there's a matter of your sire. The person who brought you here, Kadir picked you from last night. Who were they? Sire? Does that matter? A handsome businessman. An entrepreneur acquaintance of my boss, I think. Good looking, pale blue eyes, and some gray in his hair. Charming, abusive, cold son of shortness of breath. You feel tired and angry, the whole situation spending the day in some underground parking lot, having to bear the looks of a room full of strangers. It's almost too much to take in a stride. There's no reasons you should take it all in stride, but you do. But because if there's one thing your professional career has taught you, is that. All because of that meanie face, whoever he was. He never even gave you a name or a card, nothing. Well, Kadir, does that sound familiar? No, it does not. Or at least not familiar enough. I will continue with the search after we're done here. Can he go now? What happens here? He talked to somebody at the restaurant. The man, he talked to somebody at the restaurant before he left. I can't remember what he said, but he wasn't alone. Maybe that's a lead you could follow? Did he know? That's interesting. I do hope the proprietor won't stay mad at us for losing one of his staff. It's almost like he knows the raider's fate is still bothering you and takes pleasures in pointing it out. Thank you for the observation. I will investigate it later. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? Traditions are clear. Thou shalt only one sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou creest another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy prodigy shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duties. Stay your hand for just a moment longer, Kadir. I wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main show room, and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask Cordelia what all that talk of traditions council was, when a red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie, Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. What for? She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Cordelia. We all know what the verdict is going to be. Let me speak to them. You might not have to strain your hands tonight after all. Her words grabs his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions struggling for dominance. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude, resolve. I'll get my sword. He steps out of the room. The way you came in, you are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. She takes you aside, and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you are quite in the pickle. What do you mean? What was that about a sword? Maybe tell me what the hell is this? Tell me you're here to explain what the hell is going on. I am. Let me cut straight to the point. Last night, you became a vampire. Wait, what? Oh yes, I'm well aware how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reason why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred being embrace, having a sire. That fact remains. And beings called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. You glance around. Some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale, real pale, most holding glasses of wine. No, not wine. That's not the right thickness, and not the right color either. They're trying to come up with some sensible way to say, but you're drawing a blank. It makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night. There's no denying it, and your bleeding has not returned, and your heart remains still. A vampire. Two voices in your head starts battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins putting everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to the conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice keeps saying WTF, WTF on repeat. You're surprised? This is often how it plays out by design. Cordelia deliberately keeps you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you'll be cut down, as sure as day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance, a way out, under one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you are lucky, the prince will be in a good mood tonight, and Cordelia complaints about your behavior won't influence her judgment. Society values docility. She might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I am not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I will take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me. If they reflect negatively, well, I'll make sure you face the consequences. How would you convince the prince? You're saying the prince might have other plans for me? What will you offer to convince her? You'll see it yourself, hopefully. Know this. There are certain traditions and histories of our society in the city that I could tap into. My word might not carry that much weight, but it's not easily ignored either. Step of hushed voices can be heard from the side room. It seems the prince and the council are returning to the showroom. Cordelia appears from downstairs, as well as starts walking towards you. When you hear the verdict, ask to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a melting smile towards Cordelia, who does not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now complemented by the curved, ornate-looking metal scabbard fastened with a colorful sash around his waist. It would look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating at first and foremost. Cordelia takes place next to you and observe as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of New York City, Camilla gathered here. Tonight, I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. Their behavior since being embraced have been disagreeable. That does not bode well for them being a valuable member of our society. You are still keenly aware that these nights we need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and our traditions more than ever. Upon our trusted sheriff pointed out there can only be one course of action. Although I acknowledge some of my council divergence opinions on this, she takes a look specifically at one of the people who left the room before, a somewhat plainly dressed, shy-looking man, whose skin has somewhat healthier tone. He bows his head in indifference. I hold the final authority over the fledgling's fate, and I declare that while their embrace might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence, it is their progeny that shall be punished. The sentence is final death, to be resolved permanently. Cordelia? You hear the scraping sound and see what the sheriff has unsheathed, his curved sword. Its beautifully detailed blade, which you expect must be worth a small fortune, its pure sharpness takes you freeze up. 2 bouts, bottom of the 9th. His quiet mumble is audible to no one but you. As his eyes meet yours, you note just a hint of sadness in his countenance, one that quickly vanishes to give way to grim determination. And he's out to bat. You will not get another chance to speak up. As for mercy, you make your choice. Spare me, please. Don't make me beg. God bless it. Prince, if I may ask you to stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer. Cordelia looks at the prince, waiting her response, the sword still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Miss Langley? Yes, if I may. At first, the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but she stays quiet for a while, measuring the mood of the room. The bored elite suddenly look at you with aroused interest, some of them dismayed at not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes the first steps forward. All eyes are on her now, but Cordelia heavily hands your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of this distraction. My prince, while the traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context should be observed in additional to the letter of our law. This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance, they could become an asset to our domain. And I understand that you are volunteering to take this unruly child under your protection? Yes, I am. I am willing to give them a chance and prove to the entire domain that they could adhere to our expectations. I will take nothing less than their full cooperation, naturally. Whispers can be heard again. An incredulous voice or two. A hush. Just behead the person. Some suppress exclamations of surprise. Silence. I ask you all to make note of this moment. I might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another would have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Until thy prodigy shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Are you certain that responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Langley? I am willing to guide this fledgling and add a valuable ally to our sect. In a time you need, yes, I would like to receive the right of destruction over them, if it pleases you. Oh, you mean silent. It's clear tensions are high. It feels surreal to listen to strangers discussing your death, or second death, apparently, and keeping silence. You decided it's best to let Sophie handle this alone, and not interject. You have no idea how to handle this eyes wide shut crowd. The prince looks at you, as if weighing your worth. She takes another good measure of the room before she speaks again. I shall grant what you ask. Let it be known, Sophie Langley, the clan of the Rose, will become the fledgling's patron. They shall be considered like a sire and child. Miss Langley would take full responsibility for them, and I grant her the right of destruction if she fits to use it. Let my intentions be clear. However, I am not to turn a blind eye to one of the most important traditions on this occasion. I expect it to be beneficial to the Chimera, substantially so. I hope you find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. She turns to you. What is your name, child? Time Prince? Shouldn't I use a nickname? Will I ever have a chance to use it? Time Prince. She nods. Welcome to the Chimera Time. Now, this evening has proven to be even more eventful than anticipated, but with the fledgling's fate decided, I believe our meetings can here be concluded. Thank you for all appearing to such a short notice. Give my regards to those who couldn't make it. Cordelia, a moment of your time before I let you return to your duties. Of course, Prince. He shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged. And it needs be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. Well, Time. I think we've both already managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. Well, let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to a new fruitful partnership. She raises her hand at one of the well-dressed concierges, who now reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conventionally handsome man approaches with a carafe of red liquid. The memory of throwing up in the safe house is still fresh in your mind, and the idea that it could happen again is almost enough to reject the drink altogether, but there's no denying it. You want it. You need it. I remember the courier said about your misadventure before getting in the car. Some of us have more delicate palates than others. Try to take a small sip. So, Silver's Palen. He pours it into two tall glasses so you can barely wait until he hands you the drink. Your attention is fully on it. The fact that it's blood, you're certain of it, doesn't faze you this time. It is difficult to take a sip, even though the taste is foul as before. You tempt it. You tempt to down the whole glass in one go. You wait before taking a second taste. You're glad you did. A feeling of heartburn signals that you can't keep it down. You spit it back inside the glass. Sophie looks intrigued. I'm not surprised. New York City's caterers are very bourgeois ideas of what good blood should taste like. Well, you just need to keep trying. As Sophie's requests, the concierge serves you in three other variants of blood. The first two are horrible and indigestible, both ending up back in the glasses within moments of tasting them. Before the third ride, you're almost ready to throw the glasses at the wall in frustration. But finally, this one's different. Instead of mud of decay, it's surprisingly rich bacon of taste. You feel blissfully at ease, and Sophie takes notice. Ah, there it is, Jacob. Would you kindly let us know who the donor was? Leave the bottle, please. The concierge nods and leaves again. You take another sip and another. You empty the glass. Dull feeling in your stomach and head starts subsiding, but you still want more. Sophie pours you another glass and refills hers. She takes a sip. You have curiously specific taste. Time. Is it the clover notes, the trace of caffeine, or the bittersweet aftertaste of melancholy? You taste nothing of the kind, but it doesn't matter. It's tasty, but not as delicious as it was last night. Not as intoxicating. It managed to silence the hunger. Somewhat, though. Drinking bloods put you at ease, and it is a strange realization. The man named Jacob comes back in a small card and leaves it with Sophie. She takes a quick look and passes it on you. It's medical. It's somebody's medical details. An office worker, male, Caucasian, 32 years old, blood type ABHR plus, positive, blue eyes, brown hair, no historical substance abuse, New Jersey native. When might one of these details make a difference? Now that we have picked the right bouquet of your palate, these documents should be useful identifying your exact tastes. Should they be OHR plus or Joy E's boys? But I believe you have more questions. No? Perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. How much do I have to drink? Where do you get the blood? How will I know what I can drink? These are difficulties of mine. How do I navigate that? How will I know what kind of blood I could drink? It's a tricky question. I believe you will have to trust your instincts on this. With time, you should be able to narrow it down to your particular preference. Blood that you reject is, of course, of no value to you. It's it's horrible waste. No amount of it will ever sate your hunger completely, but every little sip counts. If you're frugal or forced by the circumstances, you can survive many nights without a single drink, but it's risky and will tempt the beast that's part of our curse. It will take some time to find the right balance. Tomorrow will take you hunting and we will explore this topic further. But you should be good for now. What do you expect of me? So, now that I am working for you, what are my responsibilities going to be like? It's a bit more complicated than working for me. If I wish for a servant, there will be easier ways to achieve that than risking the prince's charm at Elysium. I see a potential in you that would be a waste if I hadn't spoken up. Not to mention, it would be pain to me to witness a senseless final death. It always has. That said, I require that you defer to me in all things. But me being your mentor and superior, also means I shall treat you as my loyal retainer and understudy with me. You go with me, you can go far. Without me, the proper guidance, you will become a clear danger to the masquerade. That is why, with your sire gone, the prince grant you out of the picture too. The conjurers returns, asks for permission to intrude, which Sophie gives with a polite smile, and leans in to whisper in her ear. You note that the gallery is now almost empty. I am being told the gallery is about to close, but we still have quite a lot to discuss. We go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. Sorry about that. She's the smile puts she puts on could tip any negotiation towards her favor. Her words are like honey, and she makes it impossible to take your eyes off her. You are under her spell momentarily. Sophie leads you to a luxurious silver Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad shouldered, clean shaven, middle aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you a bit more about our customs. You have heard the prince refer to our traditions. The chief among them is the masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery after closing time, our comings and goings doing tends to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts, so to vast majority of the nine, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icons. Say that is one television show about Vampire Angel still popular? You shake your head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, looking a little more dejected than before. Our clandestine always helps us remain safe. Allows us to explain away the occasional trip up to the rational minds of the 21st century humans and delegate much of our interactions with mortals. What is the risk? Is your driver a vampire too? Wait, what about my career then? I'm gonna do what about my career. So what you're saying is who I have become must remain a secret. What about my job then? My career? Is it over? Just like that? Not necessarily, but you will need to step lightly. It goes without saying that you will need an explanation for your disappearance. And it will be a few more nights before I let you go it alone. You might be one of the kindred now, but that comes with some caveats. For one, sunlight burns us. That's why we rest during the day. You felt it. More like being dead than being dormant, isn't it? Some of us mere folks relate threats to legends, or occasionally a minor nuisance. Garlic, running water, even religious symbols don't repel us, unless the wielder is uniquely pure and godly. Stakes through the heart, though, that's something to avoid. They do not destroy, but they do paralyze, which, under the right circumstances, can often be the same thing. That's a reason to have somebody like my trusted driver, Gregory, making sure you're safe when you drift away. We have many enemies, and they often know their advantages lies within daylight. How can you trust your driver? Do vampires watch each other's back? Is it good to keep a human friend? Am I right making that having a human friend or two is necessary then? Or at least useful? In moderation, and best if they don't know your true nature. Also, I would say that subordinates are useful, but friends, I haven't had one of those for many years now. Our little sect supplies social interactions aplenty, but it doesn't really encourage friendship. Alliances of convenience to be broken at whims. Yes, that is more like it. Long-term solitary does occur in the camellia, but we are a very politicalized organization by necessity. Loyalty is to your sire, and to your prince, and to the sect. Friends must remain at distant priority at best for us to maintain the masquerade and thrive as the years pass. With age comes authority. With it comes influence and power, if you wish to reach for them. She seems to be lost in thoughts and falls silent for a while, leaving you ponder what all the things you learned tonight. It still feels absolutely unreal, but as a piece after piece of knowledge falls into place, the image becomes almost like entirely logical jigsaw puzzle. Whatever you wouldn't believe on your own, you witness. Many questions swarm your thoughts, but only one keeps you returning to what was your place in this new reality should be. The car stops in the city, in front of an old but well renovated apartment building. We're here. Would you like to see your lodgings? My own apartment? Neat. Is there another parking lot room? Do I get loyal servant? I'm gonna do, is it another parking lot room? Is another job safe room in an underground parking lot for my safety and all that? Don't be ridiculous. You're not a sireless fledgling in Quadier's stern grasp anymore, and even he wouldn't hold you there any longer than necessary, I think. Come upstairs. She leads you through a small hall with a night guard greets Miss Langley with good evening, and take the stairs to the second floor. Sophie opens the door to 2209. Inside, all the amenities you could expect from a modern apartment, and some wouldn't even have deemed necessary just the previous night, including thick blinds on the windows. The black room has comfortable looking beds and thick steel door with several sturdy looking locks but no windows. Well, how do you like it? It's great, thank you. Wait, I could choose another? It's well enough, I guess. I'll be nice, thank you. It's great, thank you. I'm glad. Make yourself at home. Tomorrow, well, welcome back, Yadi. Tomorrow I'll take you hunting and discuss the blood in more detail. I'll let you get comfortable. The keys are by the television set. I'll come pick you up tomorrow night using the back room for rest. You could lock the door just in case. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're safe. I'm assuming you got home safely. It stings a bit. It stings a bit when she leaves. It's like a room suddenly become a few shades dimmer. You inspect the kitchen, hoping to find something to drink. Nothing. No regular food either. You feel strange that Quadir could be more thoughtful host than your new sire, even if that in only that respect. No worries. I am gonna end really quick soon. You briefly wonder what the sheriff might have a hidden side. With nothing left to do, you lie on the couch with the TV playing in the background for company. Columbus returns. Kojak returns. President of the United States got himself into serious trouble again. President of the United States got himself into serious trouble again. Putin starts yelling over each other about things that seemed a little bit less insignificant just 2 days ago. You start drifting off, reflecting about another night of confusing conversations, worldviews, shattering revelations. How many more would you finally understand what happened to you and what you're supposed to do now? You keep coming back to life, and you keep coming back to the life you left behind, the people you should contact, the things you want to pick up from your apartment. You wonder when you have the chance either. As you start to feel the same tiredness that made you drift into a cold sleep last night, you settle into a back room. The bed is comforting, the lack of windows less so. You leave the light bulb on. Looking at it, you realize it's the closest you ever come to staring at the sun on a breezy summer day again. A wave of melancholy overwhelms you, and a few minutes later, your consciousness fades and you take the plunge into darkness again, sinking, sinking, sinking. And I am gonna leave it here. Thank you guys for showing up and just being in chat. I'll probably do this again sometime, and we can finish the story. I don't know about tomorrow, maybe Sunday. Well, you guys have a good night and be safe.